It's Tuesday, and once again, the aliens have landed. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And we're talking about aliens this time because it is Tuesday. And if you've been hiding under a rock, maybe you don't know this, but for the past month, we've been doing this Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday, and we'd like to continue doing this. This might be the culmination of the actual video portion of this series, but we might pick up again later. But we just kind of wanted to kick this whole thing off for the month of March and let people know what Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday is all about. It's a art challenge that I'm doing with my friend Marshall Lee of Donkey Jaw Projects. As usual, we'll put his link in the description. Definitely follow him because he's doing some awesome alien designs. And a lot of other people have been joining in, and we've created a playlist, and I believe there's a link to that, or there's a link to the page with the official rules, and from there is a link to the playlist. Or if you just go somewhere on my YouTube, there are playlists. If you click that playlist button, you will find the Take Me to Your Leader. And you guys also have the opportunity, if you want to participate in this, all you have to do is draw an alien on a Tuesday, any Tuesday, any and every or whenever Tuesday you want. It really doesn't matter. It's just, you know, we try to keep it to Tuesday, but you can do it on whatever Tuesday you want, and you can continue to do that for as long as you want. There's no start date, there's no stop date. It's just anytime you want. It's kind of like a fan art Friday thing, where you just draw fan arts on a Friday, and fan art, whatever you want to do. I don't know where I'm going. What was I talking about? But yeah, so if you want to participate in the challenge, just hashtag it with Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday, or the initials for Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday, or both, and that's kind of what I do. But if you want to film a video of you doing the design, let us know, send us a link, and we will try to put that in the playlist as well. So what are we doing today? So let me show you let me give you a recap of what I've done. So this is the first one I did. It's sort of a space rodent, space mouse smuggler type guy. Right here, this one I did last week. This is sort of my female reptile style alien. And then I've got this big, bulky, slimy guy. Pretty cool. So if you notice all of these, it seems like they all got kind of high-tech gadgets and things like that. So I wanted to take it back and make more sort of a primitive style alien, more like with, you know, spears or something like that, or just like wooden weapons or bladed weapons or something like that. Not really super high-tech like these guys, just to do something different. So that's what I'm going to work on today with this sketch that I'm going to start. So yeah, I'm going to get started on that, and today I think we're going to talk about art supplies. So let's get to it. Okay, so for my fourth drawing in this Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday series, I'm going to do something a little differently. Now this is probably, like I said before, this might be the last video of Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday that I do for a little while anymore. I might just pop some in here and there as we go, but I got some other content I want to get to and everything. And again, I just kind of wanted to kick off this challenge with Marshall, and so we decided, well, for the month of March, rather, we're just gonna do one every week and let everyone know about it, just to kind of help promote the challenge and everything. But again, continue to do it. I will continue to do you know, alien drawings and everything. So like I said, I'm going to do something a little different on this one. The other ones were, I guess I try to vary the aliens you know, throughout this challenge so far as much as I can. But this one I do want to have him be a little more primitive and everything. So for this group of aliens, I imagine they're a little more solitary. They keep to themselves. They live in tribes, kind of a way. They wouldn't live in like big cities or whatever. And that would be interesting to explore, kind of where they do live. You know, whether they, you know, what their houses look like. If they're like Ewoks, where they live in trees, or maybe in cliff dwellings, or whatever, or in hives even. I don't know. Although as I'm kind of fleshing the gesture and everything out, and what this guy's looking like, he doesn't necessarily looks like he would live in a hive, but maybe in like a hut or sort of a semi-underground type area. But anyway, so yeah, and then when you're drawing characters like this, you always wonder about sort of their social hierarchy and everything. I imagine this particular guy is more like a warrior, but I imagine there would be, you know, leaders and just different parts of their society, and different people have different roles, or different creatures have different roles, rather. So anyway, as you can see, kind of getting the idea of this guy. He's probably a little furry. I might throw some horns in, sort of like almost like ram style horns and everything. So yeah, he's coming along, and I think he's a little different than the other characters. But like I said, I want to talk a little bit about art supplies, because and I always do like to mention what art supplies I'm using. So right now I'm using a Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencil, and I like the way these work. This isn't the pencil that I use all the time. For instance, if I'm doing comic books, and the reason, I'm kind of jumping all around, but the reason why I'm using an orange pencil is really, there is no reason. I just kind of like it. Sometimes I'll use red, sometimes I'll use blue or whatever. There are particular times, especially when I'm doing a comic, where I will only use blue, because I use a non-photo blue, which means when I scan it, I don't really have to do a lot of erasing or anything like that. Now with this, with the Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencils that I'm using for these sketches, I don't mind that they show through the drawing. I actually kind of like that. If you want something, now these are erasable, but they're not as erasable as, say, like graphite pencil. So if you want to make sure you don't see any of your lines, you might want to use your standard, graphite pencils. I don't know, I don't really care for graphite, just because I don't like the way it gets on my hands and everything, and that's just kind of a personal qualm that I have with those. So that's why I always use sort of colored pencils. For comics though, I use a lead holder, which are kind of, that's what I started using. It's weird, because I started using these because I used to work, my first art job was actually in an architectural firm, and they sort of had an inside graphic design and illustration division, I guess. So everyone there was using these lead holders with, it's kind of like a mechanical pencil, but not exactly. So I use like just the Stadler, it's just called a lead holder. If you Google them, you'll see what they'll look like. And I'll put links in the description so you guys can tell. But I kind of have to find the non-photo blue leads for them. They're a little hard to find, but you can find them online and everything. So I use that, and also it takes a special kind of pencil. I'll put all this stuff in the description. So yeah, I use different supplies, but I guess the main reason why I wanted to talk about art supplies is because as artists, I think, especially if you're on YouTube and you're doing this kind of stuff, people always want to know what art supplies you're using. And I'm more than happy to let you guys know, and just so you do know, there is usually a link, or there's usually a bunch of art supplies with affiliate links, and if you order from there, I get a little, little change from that, and it doesn't cost you guys any extra or anything. So you can find all the supplies I use. But the main thing is, just for everyone to understand, hopefully everyone understands that the supplies aren't going to make you a better artist. It's the time you put in, and it's your dedication and all those other factors. Now some art supplies are better than others, but any art supply isn't going to magically make you a better artist. And there's people that are tremendous artists that use the cheapest supplies around, so it's really not that big of a factor. It can be for certain things, and certain people prefer different supplies, but don't let that hold you back. Don't let that make you think that you have to have all the top-notch stuff, and a lot of people like, oh, I can't really draw because I don't have the right supplies. You can draw with any supplies you want. And there are certain things you want to watch out for, but anything that basically gets pencil on the paper or ink on the paper is gonna be fine. You don't really have to worry so much about that. But if you want, and I'm the same way too. If I see somebody using something that I haven't seen before, I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'll try that out. But just because something works for you may not work. I mean, just something works for somebody you're watching on YouTube or whatever, doesn't mean it's going to work for you necessarily. Sometimes I'll see somebody using a tool and I'll go, oh, that's cool, let me try that out, and I'll order it, and it just doesn't work for me. And then, so sometimes I just go back to what I normally do. Now this right here, I'm doing the inking stage right now, and this is a Kuretake brush pen. I really like these, and there's a few different ones. There's I used to use the Pentel Pocket Brush, and that one's always highly recommended and everything. That's kind of what I'm saying. I used those for a while, and I did really like it, but then I started to find that, for me at least, those were a little unpredictable. Sometimes the ink would just flood out, sometimes it wouldn't come out enough, so I kind of stopped using those, and I went with this, I think it's a Sumi brush pen. And again, I'll leave links and everything, not this particular one, but I've used all kinds of different brush pens. Actually, I think I got a lot of those recommendations from Jake Parker, some stuff that he had mentioned on his site. But yeah, brush pens are great if you want different line weight. You can see how there's thick and thin lines. If you're going for sort of a uniform look, microns are great, like either Pitt pens or like the Sakura microns. They come in all different weights and everything. I've seen a lot of people do great work with those. A lot of times I will use a brush and ink. For ink, I use Deleter Black number 5. You can use whatever, you know. Higgins is kind of hit or miss. FW makes some great inks. There's a lot of great inks. You just kind of have to try and see what works best for you. Of course, I do a lot of marker rendering, like I'm doing right now, just to color this character. So these right here are the Artist Loft. They're sort of the Michaels brand. I picked up a bunch of those, and I do a bunch of marker reviews on my channel, so I have so many different ones. This one's a chameleon marker, and it's kind of color change, or it's kind of, you can get different graduated tones with it. But I also use Copics, and I got an old set of Pantone Tria markers or Tria markers. So I just use whatever kind of alcohol-based marker works for me. And that's kind of the thing. Some people are like, oh, I only use Copic because I only use the best or whatever. I mean, they're all interchangeable. I use all kinds of things. So it really is just whatever works. As far as paper goes, I use Bristol. They have the 11 by 17, which is kind of the standard American size comic paper. And of course, you reduce it. I mean, when you buy a comic, it isn't 11 by 17, but usually you draw larger on 11 by 17, and then you reduce the size and everything. If you do manga, it's a different size. I'm not exactly sure for that. I mostly, even though sometimes, I don't know if my stuff looks manga at all, but it probably doesn't look as much like American comics as a lot of people's, I don't think. You know, like Young and the Dead, I mean, it's somewhere, I think it's probably somewhere in between, but I still kind of stick with that American format for whatever reason. So anyway, yeah, and they have pre-rolled sheets, either Strathmore or Canson. Both are good quality paper. You know, when I do my sketches, you know, some people use different sketchbooks. I just draw I have a sketchbook. Sometimes I'll draw on it. A lot of times I'll just draw on loose copy paper. Just for whatever reason, I've always gotten the habit of that, and it's hard for me to break that, just to start working more in sketchbooks. And I've tried several times, and I always go back to the old standard of just using copy paper. But yeah, I mean, for more finished stuff, I will always use Bristol paper. But again, that's kind of up to you. Some people don't like Bristol. If you're doing more of a watercolor thing, you know, maybe you want something a little more toothy, like watercolor paper, like Arches, which is a really nice brand. It's a little pricey, but that stuff's really great. And you know, it really depends what you like, and whether you like you know, a smooth surface or a more, you know, something again with a little tooth to it. I prefer, maybe not as much as like the watercolor, you know, roughness, but even though I think a lot of people drawing comics prefer it really smooth, I like a little bit of that tooth to it. So when I get, you know, if I get the pre-rolled stuff, it's already, usually you get kind of what they give you, and it's a little bit smoother. But sometimes I like to get a little rougher paper. So I don't know if I always get confused whether it's hot press or cold press. I think hot press is the smooth, and cold press is the one that's a little rougher. So anyway, so that's kind of what I had to say about art supplies. Again, whatever works for you is fine. There's really no magic art supply or anything. But so yeah, I'm kind of wrapping up this drawing here. Kind of like the way this guy turned out. I like the color scheme and everything, a little different from the other one. And this whole challenge has been fun. So I really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me and watching these and everything. And yeah, let me know what your favorite art supplies are in the comments section. All right, so another alien down. There you go. There's sort of my primitive alien guy. All right, so how this thing continues is kind of up to you guys. I want you to kind of continue on this tradition. If you want to draw an alien, let us know. Hashtag it with Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday. A lot of cool people doing this challenge, and some people even filming videos. I've got a couple other videos in the playlist, one from Robert Johnson, or a couple from him actually, and also Scott Campbell. So if you want to check out those guys, go to the playlist and definitely link to their channels and check out their channels and subscribe to their channels. See what they're doing. They're doing some cool stuff. But I want you guys to join in on the fun. So if you want to draw aliens, I don't know, they're probably, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be filming videos all the time, but I'm going to try to do aliens, an alien drawing every Tuesday, and I'll probably be posting that on my Instagram. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Serkworks on Instagram. So do that. Definitely check out Marshall Lee, always doing some really cool stuff. Still doing the 100 Days of Making Comics Challenge right now, so you can check that out. So he's putting out about a video or more if it's Tuesday every day of the week, so that's really cool. But yeah, this has been an awesome challenge, and thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. That is all. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me here in the Art Lab. There's a lot of other great content on the channel, so click that subscribe button and you won't miss a thing. If you're an aspiring evil genius, visit Serkworks.com for all your mad science supply needs. And if you want to contact me, hit me up in the comments section or follow me on social media. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then.